Peace be upon you, grade 7 students. Today we are going to start with chapter 3, Respiration of Living Beings, worksheet 20, Respiration in Aerial Medium part 2. At the end of this video, you will be able to identify the type of respiration in human, list the characteristics of alveolus wall making it a good surface for gases exchange, deduce the role of blood in pulmonary respiration. Prepare your worksheet, your copybook, and a pencil. During inhalation, the air enters the lungs till it reaches the alveoli, but how does the gases exchange take place at the level of the alveolus? Highly vascularized alveoli are the site of gases exchange. During inhalation, the air enters the alveolus rich in oxygen and poor in carbon dioxide, while the blood entering it is poor in oxygen and rich in carbon dioxide. Gases exchange takes place between the alveolus and the blood. Oxygen gas diffuses from the alveolus to the blood, while carbon dioxide gas diffuses from the blood to the alveolus. Finally, carbon dioxide will leave the alveolus to be exhaled outside the body. Now, after watching this video, we are able to answer number 10, which is to write a paragraph that explains how the gases exchange takes place in the above animals at the level of the pulmonary alveolus using the figure below. Observe this figure. What does it show? It shows an alveolus which is surrounded with blood capillaries. So three main events we are going to explain here. First event, which is inhalation. What happens during inhalation? Second one, the process gases exchange. So how does it take place? And finally, the exhalation. We will start by inhalation. So as this arrow shows, that the air enters the alveolus. So during inhalation, the air enters the alveolus, which is rich in oxygen gas and poor in carbon dioxide gas, while the blood entering the lungs is rich in carbon dioxide and poor with oxygen gas. So here, the process of gas exchange will take place between the alveolus and the blood capillary, so that the carbon dioxide gas diffuses from the blood capillary to the alveolus, while the oxygen gas diffuses from the alveolar air to the blood capillary. So the oxygen gas will go to all body parts, will be distributed to all body parts, while the carbon dioxide gas will be exhaled outside the body. The first objective, identify the type of respiration in humans. And in order to identify, we should indicate and justify. So, what is the type of respiration in humans and how can we justify that? Okay, so which is the organ or which organ is responsible for gases exchange in a human? They are the lungs. The lungs, which are the site of gases exchange, which are the organs that are responsible for the gases exchange. So, since the lungs are the respiratory organs in humans, then what is the type of respiration in humans? It is called pulmonary respiration. Then, according to the organ responsible for gases exchange, we can identify the type of respiration. Now you are able to answer number 9. So since the respiratory organ in a human is the lungs, so the type of respiration is pulmonary respiration. The organisms have different respiratory organs where the gaseous exchange takes place. So what are those respiratory organs that are found in different organisms? The lungs, which are found in the humans and some mammals. The gills inside the body of the fish. The trachea inside the body of insects. And the skin, which is the respiratory organ of the earthworm. So according to the organ responsible for gases exchange between the organism and the medium where it lives, we can find many types of respiration. So the 4 types of respiration that we are going to talk about are pulmonary respiration, which is relative to the lungs, example in a human and mammals. Tracheal respiration, which is relative to the trachea, which is the respiratory organ of some insects. The gill respiration, relative to the gills, that are the respiratory organs of the fish. And cutaneous respiration, which is relative to the skin in some animals. Referring to the previous information, answer number 1 in worksheet 20. Indicate the criterion according to which we can distinguish between the different types of respiration. What do we mean by criterion? Criterion is a common feature that allows us to arrange things into groups, each group containing the same feature. Example, arranging the blocks according to the criterion, which is the color. Here we can arrange the blocks into 3 groups. For example, we'll put the reds in a group A, the green blocks in group B, the blue blocks in group C. Here, according to the criterion, which is the color, those blocks are arranged. So here, what is the criterion that allows us to distinguish between those different types of respiration? It is the respiratory organ. The respiratory organ responsible for the gases exchange between the organism and the medium where it lives. So according to the respiratory organ, we can distinguish between the 4 types of respiration. The second objective, list the characteristics of the alveolus wall, making it a good surface for gas exchange. We know that the alveolus is the structure at which the gases exchange takes place. But what are the characteristics that make it a good surface for gases exchange?
Important features of the gas exchange surface that you need to know. First of all, it's got a large surface area which is provided by this particular shape of the alveoli and also by the fact that there are lots and lots and lots of them inside of the lungs. It's very thin, which provides a short diffusion pathway. Notice that the lining is only 1 cell thick. It's also got a moist lining. The inside of each alveolus sac is moist, which allows gases to dissolve, which then allows them to diffuse across the lining. It's got a very good blood supply. Each one of the alveoli has lots and lots of blood capillaries surrounding it. If we have a little look at what lung tissue looks like under a microscope, we can see this sort of zigzag, crisscross sort of mesh of little almost streams. This is the capillary network, and we can tell that because if we look at one of these individual little red splotches here, those are individual red blood cells.
So here are the characteristics that make the alveolus a good surface for gas exchange. Look here, large number of blood capillaries are surrounding the wall of the alveoli. So the richness with the blood capillaries allows the alveolus to be a good surface for gases exchange. Second, thickness, humidity, and permeability of the wall of the alveoli. Also, this allows the exchange of gases between the alveolar air and the blood capillary. Third, the large surface area, which makes it a good surface for gases exchange. Objective number 3. Deduce the role of blood in pulmonary respiration. When the blood leaves the alveolus, it will be distributed to all body organs. What happens at the level of the organs? Here an example of an organ in our body, which is the muscle. And we know that the muscle is surrounded also by blood capillaries. Here is the blood which is entering the muscle, and here is the blood which is leaving the muscle. But what is the composition of each one? What is the composition of the blood entering the muscle? And what is the composition of the blood leaving the muscle? And what happens at the level of the muscle? The following table represents the composition of the blood entering and leaving this muscle in a human. So this table shows the quantity of oxygen gas in the blood entering the organ and the quantity of carbon dioxide gas in the blood entering the organ. Also, it shows the quantity of oxygen gas in the blood leaving the organ and the quantity of carbon dioxide in the blood leaving the organ. So let us analyze the table above. So how to analyze the table? When we want to analyze, we are going to describe the variation of oxygen gas in the blood entering and leaving the organ, then to describe the quantity of carbon dioxide in the blood entering and leaving the organ. So what is the quantity of oxygen gas in the blood entering the organ? It is 20. How much does it become in the blood leaving the organ? It becomes 15. So how does it vary? Does it increase, decrease, or remains constant? It decreases. Let's go to the carbon dioxide gas. What was the quantity of the carbon dioxide gas in the blood entering the organ? It was 49. How much does it become in the blood leaving the organ? It becomes 53. So how does it vary? Does it increase, decrease, or remains constant? It increases. It increases from 49 to 53. So let's ask answer number 11. So the answer of number 11, for 100 milliliter of blood, the quantity of oxygen gas in the blood entering the organ is 20 milliliters. It decreases to 15 milliliters in blood leaving the organ, while the quantity of carbon dioxide gas in the blood entering the organ is 49 milliliters. It increases to reach 53 milliliters in blood leaving the organ. So it's time to draw out a conclusion. What do we conclude? So what happened at the level of this organ? Which gas was consumed and which gas was released? So organs consume oxygen gas from the blood and release carbon dioxide gas to the blood. Number 13, indicate the role of blood in respiration. So what is the role of the blood during respiration? It transports the respiratory gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide gas to all body parts. So the role of the blood is transportation of those gases. As a summary, according to the respiratory organ responsible for gases exchange, we can identify 4 types of respiration. Pulmonary respiration relative to lungs, tracheal respiration, where the trachea is the respiratory organ, gill respiration, where the gills are the respiratory organs, cutaneous respiration, where the skin is the respiratory organ. The characteristics that make the alveolus of a good surface for gas exchange are thinness, humidity, permeability of the wall of the alveolus, richness in blood vessels, and large surface area. Organs of our body consume oxygen gas and release carbon dioxide gas. The blood transports the respiratory gases to all body organs. As an assignment, underline and memorize in worksheet 20 numbers 9, 13, and the remark page 28. Review number 10 in worksheet 20. Hope that you enjoyed listening and watching. Stay safe.